Hi everybody and welcome to the new web scraping APIs for data science course. My name is Alex and I will be the instructor of this whole tutorial series. So first of all, we will cover the basics and the fundamentals of the whole web scraping process when it comes to web scrape the APIs behind a website if there is something available. Then we just go directly ahead and we want to cover 4 different hands-on projects, okay? We start with a beginner level project, then we proceed with 2 different intermediate level projects, and finally we want to cover an advanced level project. And I would say let's just jump directly into the browser and I will show you what this will be about, okay? So in this fundamental project, in the first project, we will extract the data of different books. I also want to introduce you to this whole network tab here. Here you will find the requests of a website, the response of a website, the preview of the necessary data, and finally I also want to show you how we can create this request not inside this network tab here, but inside our Jupyter notebook, which will be the IDE for the whole course. Okay, so afterwards we proceed with the first intermediate level project, and here our goal will be the extraction of the data from this autolist.com website. Okay, then in the next one, what we want to do is we want to scrape the data from this art gallery website. Okay, and what is actually special about this website? So take a close look. This is actually a website you call infinite scroll website. Okay, you will see that the more we scroll down, the more pages and the more results directly appear. Okay, and I will show you the technique how to extract the data from this website, and you also will see that this API behind this website is actually more powerful than what we just see here in the front. Okay, so that means we have a lot more data in the back what we can actually extract or scrape than what we see here inside this front page. Okay, and finally our advanced level project will be the extraction of data from truecar.com. Actually the requirement will be the following. We want to create 2 different data frames. That means we want to extract data from used cars in New York and in San Francisco. The first data frame will have round about 5,000 results, and the same applies for the second data frame where we also have 5,000 results. Our main goal here will be the combination or to merge 2 different data frames. So finally we have 10,000 results scraped from this website. Okay, and then in the next step we want to output this data frame inside the PostgreSQL database. So it will actually look like this. Here we will have our 10,000 results, and finally we will proceed and create a few SQL queries for our extracted data frame. Okay, so that's it. And what you also need to know is the following. So in each and every chapter you will have inside the download folder the possibility to download this initial template. Okay, you will see here it's empty right now, but it's actually pre-filled with the headings. And after a project is done, you will also have the ability to download the final template where all the code snippets are actually included. Okay, so that's it for now. I hope to see you guys inside this course and I wish you all the best. Stay safe. Bye bye. Hi everybody and welcome to the basic section. Actually, before we start learning the fundamentals of scraping a website's API and before we start with the beginner level project, we need to install a few libraries. So first of all, open your command prompt. For me it's this CMD command prompt. Open this one, and first and foremost we start installing the Jupyter notebook, because the Jupyter notebook will be our IDE for all upcoming projects. Okay, so let's go ahead and type in pip install Jupyter, click on enter, and for me it's actually, so I have already installed this library. That means I get this notification, so requirement already satisfied. and that's it. So once it's installed on your computer, what you need to do is the following. You have actually different ways of opening the Jupyter IDE. For example, option number 1 is you open again your command prompt, and then you start just typing Jupyter Notebook, click on enter, and now you see that a window will open. So for me it's on the other screen. Let me just drag it here. So once I hit enter, this window actually opened. Okay, and now you see I have the Jupyter Notebook, and I can go ahead, choose a folder, and then click on new, Python 3, and you will see that this notebook will actually appear. Okay, so in this point, I assume already that you have installed Python, and if you don't have installed it, and if you have any issues, let me know, and it's not a big deal to include a separate video where I explain how to install Python. Okay. Next option. Let's say you want to start from a specific folder. Let's say you choose, for example, this folder here. Then you want to start from, let's say, documents. Okay, so double click on documents. And what you can do here is you can go to this navigation part. Okay, click on this and then type in CMD. And this command prompt will open up again. Then go ahead and type in Jupyter Notebook. Oh, sorry, I have a typo. And it didn't happen to me the first time. But never mind, let's just correct it. Jupyter Notebook. Okay. And now you see that inside this documents folder, we can run right now our notebook. Okay, so that's actually it. And the next library, let me first of all close it. This was actually the first installation we have to do. The next one is we have to install the requests library. Okay, again, open up your command prompt and then go ahead and type in pip install requests. Okay, make sure you spell it exactly like this. Okay, so not singular, we have a plural here. Okay, now run it, and again, requirement already satisfied because I've already installed this requests library. Next one is the pandas library. So go ahead and type in pip install pandas, click on enter, and again, for me, I will always right now receive this message, okay, because I have already installed it. And the last library we have to install, or the last package, is the SQL-Alchemy or SQL-Alchemy. This will be very important in our advanced level project, where we want to output our data frame inside the PostgreSQL database. Okay, this is why we need to install the SQL-Alchemy up front. Okay, so go ahead and type in pip install SQL-Alchemy. Okay, like this. Now run it. Okay, again, requirement already satisfied. But on your device, if you don't have installed previously this package, this installation process will actually start. Okay, so this was it. Now we have installed 4 different packages or libraries. And I hope to see you guys in the next video, where we start with the fundamentals. Thank you very much, and I see you in the next one. Hi everybody, and welcome to the second section of this video course. Now we want to cover the basics of the API scraping process, and we also want to complete a beginner level project. So this is the website we want to start with. It's ebooks.com. And now let's say we want to search for computer books. That means here I click on computers. Okay. And inside this page you see that we have 10 different books. And our mission right now is to extract different data from each listing. Okay, so for example, name, subtitle, the year, and so on. First and foremost, before you start your web scraping project, you have to decide which method you want to use. Okay, do you want to extract your data with Selenium, with Beautiful Soup,
or with Scrapy, or do you want to use the website's API? Since this course focuses on the API scraping, we have to check if we are able to scrape a website's API, and you need to keep in mind that we want to check if a website makes a request to a server and gets back the data, which is actually interesting for us. Okay, how can we do this? So first of all, let's click or make a right click, click on inspect. Okay, and now you see this developer tools here. What you need to do now is the following. Go to the network tab, okay, and make sure this fetch/XHR tab is selected. Okay, so XHR stands for XML HTTP request, and inside this XHR tab you usually see the requests a website sends to the server, and you have the information about the network traffic of this website. So for now we don't see anything. That doesn't mean directly that we don't have information which can be useful for us. So what I usually do is the following. Okay, if I use the API scraping method, I scroll down, okay, and still we don't have any kind of data. Okay, it's blank. So, and you see here that we have the possibility to navigate to the second page. Okay, I click on number 2, and voila, now you see that we have different requests, and we can click on them and take a look how they look like. Okay, but I don't want to have directly the information of the second page. That means I want to go back to the first one. But in order to delete or just remove this data for now, okay, so it won't distract us, I click on this button here, okay, on clear. Now it's empty again, and now take a clear look what happens if I go back to number 1. Now we have again different requests, but in this example, these requests refer to the first page, and this is actually key. Okay, so in the next step, what we need to do is the following. First, we need to understand what this is actually about. Here we have 5 different requests from this website, and now we can just click on, let's say, on the first request, and here inside this preview tab, we can see what the data can look like. Okay, here we have the headers tab, where we have the request URL, the request method, and the status code. Okay, so 200 always means we have made successfully an HTTP request. Okay, then we have a response, which logically belongs to the request itself. This is the response. We see it inside this response tab, and we have also the preview. Okay, and the preview is actually the most interesting part, because we see here if we have the data we want to extract or if it's not useful for us at all. This example here, this request, we directly can say that here we don't have anything useful, because again we want to scrape the information of this 10 books on the first site. Okay, and we start with the title, and for now I can't see any title information inside this request. Okay, then let's go to the next one, and you can also open this child subjects. Okay, we have different information. Let's click on the first one, but if I click on this index 0, let's say, I don't see this dark data title, okay, which is the title of the first result. I can't see it. I go to the next request. Let's open this one. Let's take a look. Okay, here we have something like programming Rust and so on, but I don't see any programming Rust here inside the first result. Okay, so this should be something different. Okay, I just can close it. Let's go back to the, let's go to the next request. Okay, this looks better. Why? Because here, let's say I want to open books. Okay, and now we have 10 different results, counting from 0 until 9. Let's open the first one. Okay, and this data looks actually quite good. So here we have finally the title for the first result. What we also see is the subtitle, why what you don't know matters. It's this one. Okay. Then we also have the publication year, 2020, which is this one. We have the publisher, the Princeton University Press. It's this one. Okay. And now let's see if we find the author's name. Let's scroll up. And you see here, this is the name of the author itself. It's David J. Hand. David J. Hand. Okay. And now you see that here inside this request, we have successfully accessed the information which is useful for our upcoming scraping process. Okay. So this should be just a short overview how we can check if there is an API we can actually extract the data from. And now you see that we have very, very useful data, and it's up to us right now to find a way how to grab this data which we want to extract. And again, this here is the preview tab. That means you can take a look how the data can look like or is actually looking like, and all the data is stored actually inside a JSON-Object, okay, with key and value pairs. Here inside this headers, we have this request URL, which is necessary for us, and information about the method and the status code. Okay, and this is actually the response, which is right now very, very important for us. Now, in the next step, when we find the data which we want to extract, we need to be able to access this data from our notebook. Okay, that means we have to create directly this request in Python itself. Okay, and let's see how we can do this. Again, here we have request number 4. Right click on this one, then go to copy. And now what we want to do is the following. We want to use the curl command. So for me, I will use this one. Copy as curl cmd. Okay, click on that one. And what is actually curl? So curl commands allow you to create a network request from your command line. Okay, but we don't actually want to use the command line to be able to create this request, but we want to create this request directly from our notebook or from Python, from Python itself, right? And you have actually different opportunities how to achieve this result. You can, for example, use the Postman application, but for this project, we just want to make use of the curl converter online. That means just go to your browser and search for curl converter, okay, with C. Click on that one, and you just can make use of the first result. Okay, here you see that we can convert a curl syntax to Python, and this is actually what is very, very crucial right now for this step. Okay, here we can just paste our curl command, and then we get back directly the Python request, which we can copy and paste inside our notebook. Okay, again, back to this website here. It was the request number 4. Right click, copy as curl, and for my computer is copy as curl cmd. Copy that one, paste it here. Okay, so click on enter, and now you see here that inside this window we have successfully created the Python request. I want to click on Ctrl and A to highlight everything, then Ctrl C to copy that one. Then I go to the notebook. This is actually what I've prepared up front before I started recording this video. Again, as always, this is a template, and you will get this template inside the download section. This is the initial template, okay? And once the whole project is done, you also will be able to download the final template with all the code we have worked with and which we have used, okay? So here inside this line, I want to paste the result of what we have copied, okay? And now let's see what we have here actually. Here we have imported the requests library. Here we have the headers, the parameters, and we also have made here a GET request, and we received back a response. Okay, and this response was stored inside this response variable. Okay, everything worked automatically when we have used the curl converter. Okay, and this is actually our starting point right now. Let me run the cell. Okay, we don't have an error message. This is always good. And before we proceed, actually step number 1 are all the imports for this project. So here you see that when we have used this curl converter, this request library was automatically imported. But what I want to do now is the following. I want to cut it out and paste it here because I want to have all the imports directly in the first line. And the second import for this project is actually the Pandas data frame, because we want to see our data before we store everything inside an Excel file. Okay, that means let's just do quickly these two requests, these two imports. Okay, requests library and the Pandas library. Run the cell. Okay, no error message. Let's remove this empty lines here. Okay, and now this looks actually quite good. This is just a comment, and we can also remove it. And now this looks here cleaner. Okay, so this is awesome. Next, what we need to do is we have to check the status code of this request. Okay, and here we just can make use of the response variable. So response, run the cell. And again, 200 means that we have successfully made an request to the website. It's a HTTP request to this website, and 200, this is good. Next, let's create our JSON object. And to create this JSON object, we just can make use of the response variable and then go ahead and use the JSON function here. Okay, response.json. Let's click on run. And now you see that now we have access to this JSON object. Okay, and inside here you see that we have a different kind of information. And what I want to do now is the following. I go back to the browser. Okay, it was here. And if everything was correct inside this JSON result here, we see all the information we need to extract from this page. So let's say I want to search for dark data. Okay, I will just copy that, click on this element here, Control F to search for something, Control V to paste it, and directly you see that dark data pops up. Okay, let's make another cross check. So if everything works fine, I have to be able to see this information too inside this JSON file here. Copy that. Then here replace dark data with the new title, paste it, and voila, you see that now we also see this information. That means this JSON object right now is our starting point. Okay, with this request here, we were able to create our JSON object. Okay, and now we have to find different ways how to extract the data from this particular website. Okay, again, here we have 10 books inside this first page, and we want to extract the data, subtitle, this is the title itself. Its name is dark data, it's the title. This is the subtitle, this is the author's name. Okay, this is the publisher, publishing date. And these are 5 different information. And now let's see how to extract that. So back to the notebook itself. And here what you can do is the following. So just in case you want to do this, you can check for the type here. So I will just highlight it, response.json, copy that. And inside this type function, I can just paste response.json. Let's run it. And you see that now we have here a dictionary. Okay, that means we can work with keys and values. Okay, this is actually quite important to know before we proceed. In the next step, I want to output the keys. Okay, that means I will go ahead and type in response.json. Okay, .keys. Let's run it. And you see here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different keys here. Okay, let's make a cross check. If we go back to the browser, right click inspect, go to the network, okay, network, and now actually we have to do this step again. So scroll down, go to the second page, scroll down again, okay, clear everything up, click on this button, go to the first page back, and now our result inside this request number 4. Okay, go to preview, and here we see that we have 5 different keys. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And this is actually exact the same what we see here right now. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And since our information is stored inside the books key, okay, here if we open it, we see we have 10 results. Okay, that means in the first step we have to get access to this books key. Let's see how to do this. But before I proceed, actually a good step here is to write down what data we actually want to scrape. Okay, so we start with the title, then we want to have the subtitle, afterwards the author, okay, then the publisher, and the publication date. Okay, and I've also forgotten to mention that we want to extract the price. Okay, so the price of a book is this one. Okay, this is also the one data point we want to get. That means all in all we have 6 different data points we have to scrape. And since we have to make use of this books keys, let's go ahead and directly access everything which is stored inside this key here. Okay, so I will copy this expression, response.json, copy that, paste it here, and now let's make access of this key. Okay, books. I run it. Okay, and now this looks actually good. Here we have the information, for example, dark data, as the title, publication year, price, and so on and so forth. Okay, now let's make use of the length function in order to see how many results we have here. Okay, so it's the length function. Copy that one, paste it here. Let's run it. And this looks right now very, very great. Why? Because here we have 10 results. Okay, and as you can remember, if you go back here to this website, we also have 10 results inside this first page. That means with this expression here, okay, we are able to grab all the 10 or all the information regarding this 10 books on the website. Okay, and here you see, for example, we have a list with 10 different results. Okay, and this is what I actually wanted to show you. Okay, with this length function, you can check it, and now you definitely know that all our results are stored inside this expression here. Okay, now what I want to do in the next step is the following. I want to copy this expression and just store it inside results_JSON. Okay, paste it here, and now we have it stored inside this variable. Okay, so next step, what we need to do is let's go ahead and grab the title. Okay, now we will grab data by data. So we start with the title, and in the first step we just want to have all the data for the first book. Okay, and in the next step, in step number 7, we put everything together. We need to write the for loop in order to extract the data of all 10 books. Okay, but now in this step here, we start just with extracting everything of one book. Okay, so just be with me, it will make totally sense for you. So let's go ahead and start with results_JSON. Then we want to have the first book. Okay, that means we start with index 0 in order to see all the information regarding the first book. And now this is very, very good, because here is the price 28 and 88 cents. Okay, so as you can remember, it was this one. Okay, afterwards, publication year, publisher, and so on and so forth. The subtitle, title. Let's make it short. You have everything of the first result inside this one. Okay, so but now we want to have access to the title. That means I proceed this expression with the next square brackets. Okay, and now I just want to type in this one, this title key. Okay, in order to get extracted this dark data value. So here, let's go for title, run the cell, and now you see finally we have access to the first data point. Next, I want just to copy this expression, paste it here, and now instead of the title, I want to get the subtitle. And actually, let me just run it again. No, it's not this one. I wanted to run, this expression here, so we can have directly a preview of what we need to scrape. Now we need to replace the title with the subtitle, which is actually this one. Okay, copy that, go back down, double click, and replace the old one, run the cell, and here we have accessed the subtitle. Okay, then copy this expression, paste it inside the next cell, and as the next data point we want to have the author's name. Okay, so it's the author, and now let's see how to get that. So inside, back to our JSON, result for the first book, and the author's information is actually stored here. Okay, so we have David J. Hand, and you see here that now we have a list element with two different entries. Okay, and we have the author's name and we have the author's URL, but we just want to have the first information here. That means let's proceed, make a double click on authors, copy that one, go back down, replace here the old value with the new one. Okay, let's see what we get if we just run it like this. Okay, and now you see here we have actually access to two different information, name and URL. We just want to have the first one. That means what I can do right now is let's proceed and use index 0 to get the first item, run it. Okay, and now what you've seen is the following. A few seconds ago, before I have run it, we had this opening square brackets and the closing square brackets. That means we had actually a list. Okay, and now we have a dictionary again. That means we can go ahead and make use of this key element. Copy that. Inside the next square brackets and inside the quotes, I want to paste this key element here, run the cell, and now we have successfully grabbed the author's name. That's it. Next point is we want to get access to, let's see, to the publisher. Okay, so go back down, copy this expression. Now this is the publisher, and now let's see how to get access to this one. So here inside our JSON object, we have the publisher here. Okay, that means this is also quite simple. Copy this publisher key, go back down, and for now what you can do is you can remove this part here and replace the authors with the publisher. Run it, and this is the Princeton University Press. This is correct. Next one, we have the publication year. Okay, our next data point is, or the publication date. Or let's make it as year. Okay, publication year. Back to the JSON object. Publication year is 2020. Okay, or 2020. Sorry. That means double click on this key here, copy that one, go back down, and actually, so first let me just paste it here, and before I do this, I actually have to copy that one, and replace publisher with publication year. Okay. And now again I will cut this off, double click on the publisher, remove it, and paste the publication year. Run it, and now we have 2020. This is good. And finally we need to get access to the price. Okay. That means before we proceed, copy that one, paste it here, replace the publication year with the price, and now let's see how to get access to the price. So here, for example, we have this price key. Double click on this, copy that one, go back down, and inside this old expression, I want to replace it with the price key. Run it, and voila, we have successfully get the price. Okay, so let's see what we have done. For the first book, we were able to get the title, the subtitle, the author's name, the publisher, the publication year, and the price point. Okay, now we need to put everything together, write the for loop, okay, in order to be able to extract the data not just from the first result, but from all 10 books of this result page here. Okay, here we have 10 books. Okay, and you can make a double check here. So 1 of 10, and we need to get access of all 10. And this is what is our next mission when we create our for loop. And now I will make a cut here, and I see you then in the second part. Stay tuned and see you in a few seconds. Bye bye. Hi everybody, and welcome back to the second part of section number 2, where we cover the basic of the API scraping process, and we also want to accomplish the beginner level project. Now, in the second part, what we want to do is the following. In the first part, we have actually scraped all these 6 different data points. Okay, so title, subtitle, author, publisher, publication year, and the price. But we have here in these examples, we have extracted the data just for the first result, for the first book, okay, which is this one. Now we have to do the same steps and extract the data for all 10 books, okay? And here, this is actually the major part of our work, okay? All these 6 expressions here, we can just inside our for loop, which we will create in a few seconds, we can go ahead and just reuse these statements almost one-on-one. We just can, or we have to make a few more modifications, but again, this was actually the major work for our upcoming for loop. Okay, so first of all, what I want to do is I want to create empty lists. Okay, because first of all, we need to create empty lists. Then when we run our for loop and when we actually loop through our results, okay, which is this one, okay, when we loop through all these results, we want to append the results inside these empty lists. Okay, now I will go ahead and create them. So we have title, then we have the subtitle, next we have the author, so it's the author. Okay, I forgot these brackets. Next we have the publisher. Afterwards we have the publication year. Okay, and finally we have the price. Okay, so these are our 6 empty lists. And in the next step, let's go ahead and create our for loop again. So let me show you what we want to loop through actually. We want to loop through this JSON object, okay? Because here we have stored our 10 results. So again, here we have cross-checked with the length function, okay? And inside this JSON object, which we also have stored inside this variable here, JSON results, results underscore JSON, okay? We have stored the results inside this variable here, and we can actually, let's make just a different cross-check here. Let's check the length of results JSON variable, and you see this is number 10, okay? This is what we want to have, and we want to loop through this variable, okay, which is this result here, And then we want to extract each and every data point, okay, for all the books and store them inside the empty list. That means, first of all, we need to choose an iteration variable. I will just go ahead and use the result as our iteration variable. So for result in results underscore JSON, okay. Now we need to use this first empty list, okay. So it's title dot append, because now we need to make use of the append function, because in the next step we want to append all the results or all the titles inside this title list, okay. So result, and now actually this is why I told you we have actually made the major work here in the last video. I can just go ahead and copy this part here, okay. Copy that, go back down, and now after the result I can just paste it, and this will give me back all the titles, okay. Let's just make another cross check and run the cell here, okay. We don't have an error message. Now let's print out the title list. So let's do it, and voila, you see we have successfully grabbed all 10 titles here, the book titles. If you want to, you can again use the length function, and you see that now we definitely have 10 book names, okay. This is actually the whole logic behind this step here. Again, we have the empty list, then we use the iteration variable, and we want to loop through all the results, okay. And we have actually stored the results, which is a JSON object, inside this results underscore JSON variable, okay. Then when we loop through the results, we want to append each and every book title inside this title list, okay. So first it's empty, and here we append all the titles inside it. That's it. Now we do the same for all the remaining data points. This was just number 1, and let me just go ahead and provide this comment here. So if you take a look on this afterwards, you directly know what we have done. Next, we have the subtitle, and in order to make our life a little bit easier, I can just go ahead, copy that one, paste it here, and now let's do our modifications. So now we don't want to append something inside the title list, but inside the subtitle list, okay, which is this one, subtitle.append. And now we don't have this title key anymore, but we have the subtitle key, okay. So let's scroll down, replace it with subtitle. This is number 2. Then, close the bracket, and this one too. Next we have the author, okay. So it's the author. I will just copy this expression again, paste it here, replace the subtitle list with the author list, and here we don't have the subtitle key anymore, but we have this expression here, okay, this one. Copy that, go back down, and paste it here directly after our iteration variable. Paste it here, that's it. Next, we have the publisher, okay. I will copy this one, because here the author, the expression for the author result, this is actually the only element which looks actually different like the other ones, okay. That means I will just copy the subtitle, paste it here, and now instead of the subtitle I want to extract the publisher information, okay, publisher. Then I want to make use of the publisher list dot append result, and inside this key, or inside this square brackets, I want to replace the subtitle key with the publisher key, okay. Double click, copy that one, paste it here, that's it. Next, I copy this one, paste it directly underneath, and now we need to replace the publisher with the publication underscore year. Okay, and since we have created this publication year empty list, now we want to append our data inside this list. That means publication underscore year dot append iteration variable, and now let's replace the publisher with the publication year. Copy that one, paste it, and finally we also have to do the same process for the price. Copy, paste, replace publication year with price, replace this list with the price list, and we also have to replace this key with this price key. Okay, copy that, paste it here, and now this should be fine. Let's see if this works or if we have to debug something. So I will run the cell. Okay, and we don't have an error message. This was actually quite fast. So first of all, a few moments ago, we have made our cross-check for the title. Now let's make a cross-check, let's say, for the price. Okay, let's run the cell, and this also looks good. And let's finally check the author list. So it's the author, run it, and this also looks very, very good. And now in the next step, let's go ahead and create our Pandas data frame, take a look at the data, and finally save our data inside an Excel file. Okay, so the Pandas data frame we actually have already imported here in this first cell, line 2, SPD, and PD is the, let's say, the abbreviation, okay, for the Pandas. That means every time I make use of Pandas, it's enough to write down PD and then use a function which is actually inside this Pandas data frame. Okay, so now I go down here, and inside this cell, let's go ahead and create one variable. So book data frame, or df. df stands for data frame. Now PD, okay, for Pandas, dot data frame. It's this one. And now we need to provide a dictionary, okay? That means we have to work with key and value pairs. And the key will be right now the column name, okay? And inside this column name, we want to append our result lists, okay? So this is right now the logic when we create our Pandas data frame. So we start with title, colon, then we have the title list. Number 2 is the subtitle, colon, we have the subtitle list. Number 3 is we have the author, okay, and we have the author list. Again, every element here, title, subtitle list, author list, this is what we have created here, okay. Next, we have the publisher, colon, publisher list. Next, we have the publication year, colon, and then we have the publication year list. And finally, we have the price, colon, and the price list. Okay, and this is what we want to have right now. Let's run the cell. No error message. Good. And inside, so if you click actually inside this Jupyter notebook, if you click on plus, you will create directly a new cell. Okay. And I want to print out this books data frame. Okay, that means I will make use of this books underscore df variable. Run this cell here. And finally, you see that we have the information which is necessary for us. Okay, title, subtitle, author, publisher, publication year, and the price. And every time you see that we have actually missing data, that means this book does not have a subtitle. That's it. Let's say just we can make another cross-check. Let's go ahead and search for book number 4. And the book's name is Windows Server 2019 Inside Out. So let's go back to the result page. And it's this one. So Windows Server 2019 Inside Out. and you see here we don't see a subtitle. Okay, so this, for example, this is not a subtitle, and let's just make a suggestion that you think this could be a subtitle. How can you cross-check it? So right-click, inspect, and now let's go ahead and take a look again on our results. So network tab, okay, scroll all the way down. So this is actually my trick. Go to the second page, scroll down again, clear everything up, go back to the first page, and now we have here our requests. So we have worked with number 4. Click on that one, then open the books, and here we have, so give me 1 second. Yep, it's this one. So Windows Server 2019 Inside Out. So you see here, we don't have a subtitle. Okay, it's just an empty string. We don't see a subtitle, but what we see is this one. We have Inside Out series, but this is stored inside this series key. Okay, this has nothing to do with the subtitle. This was just a short demonstration of how we can look up things. Okay, that's it. Okay, so back to our notebook. And finally, in the last step, let's store this result here inside an Excel file. Okay, that means I make use of this books_df variable, which is this data frame here. Okay, then let's make use of the toExcel function, provide one name. Let's just say books for simplicity reasons. Okay, books.xlsx, comma, and let's ignore the index. Index is false. And now let's run the cell. Okay, and in the background, this file here was actually generated. Now you need to make sure that you open up the folder where this notebook is stored. Okay, so for me, it's this folder, and this is the file I have generated a few seconds ago. Let's make a double click. Okay, and you see here we have all the 10 results for our books. Okay, if I make a double click on the columns, this column actually expands. And here you see, yep, we have everything what is actually required for us. And this should be actually a short demonstration for this basic section. Okay, again, what have we done? We have taken a look how the API scraping process can look like. Okay, if we have access to the API and if we see valuable data. Okay, and then in the next step, we have created our first beginner level project. And in the next video, we start creating our intermediate level project. Again, thank you very, very much for your time, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.